Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel for a Chelsea news / coming up with an ideology and trying to push it out to you guys to help you understand where I'm thinking regarding Erling Haaland, and maybe not just Erling Haaland, but his entire family as well. Last night, Borussia Dortmund were beaten 4-2 away at Bayern Munich, but Mr. Haaland set the show on fire in the opening 10 minutes of the game, scoring twice, and then Dortmund went on to lose, and he comes out and he says how disappointed he was on social media. The 20-year-old is absolutely tearing up world football right now, and the more he keeps scoring, the more he keeps playing, the more clubs are going to be talking about him, the bigger the interest will become. Before we get into speaking about why I think Erling Haaland could be Chelsea's answer to finally replacing Eden Hazard in today's video, I'd love to ask you to subscribe to GBFC if you haven't already, and if you think that Chelsea should and could sign Erling Haaland, be sure to whack a like on today's video to let me know you are in agreement with me. Also, the game is live for Chelsea versus Everton over on GBFC Selects. You guys can join, it's free to enter, you can win £1,000. 2 people won it last week with 15 points. Make sure you go check out the link in the description. 18 plus, please be gamble aware. The game is live, so I'd love to see you guys go and enter. Link down below. Let's talk a little bit about the Norwegian striker, shall we? Bundesliga games this season. He's played 19 times, he scored 19 goals. That is a goal every single time he steps out on the pitch, on average. Of course, that isn't the way it works, but sometimes he scores a couple, then he doesn't score. But 19 in 19 is an absolutely phenomenal record. He's played, I think, a few games for Norway. I think it's like 7 matches for Norway, and he's scored 6 goals in there as well. The way we're looking at Erling Haaland's goal-scoring records, he's almost a goal-a-game kind of player, which is Cristiano Ronaldo kind of level. He's 20 years old, and this summer, he is pretty much guaranteed to be leaving Borussia Dortmund. It's an absolute no-brainer, considering next summer, which he's going to be 21 years old then, there's going to be, even more goals to add to this incredible goal-scoring tally, and there's a release clause which will enable him to leave Borussia Dortmund for about £60 million. I think it's like 62 or 66 or something like that. So this summer, Erling Haaland, it's almost guaranteed that he will be leaving Borussia Dortmund unless he comes out and says, you know what, I love this flipping yellow and black wall of Borussia Dortmund, I want to stay here forever, in which case I think a lot of people would be very surprised, considering his agent Mino Raiola knows that there is a very big footballing financial deal that could be involved with this player. Now, we look at financial markets in football. This is exactly what we did a year ago. You guys will remember, about a year ago now, I started pushing these videos saying like why Chelsea will beat Liverpool to sign Havertz, why Chelsea will sign Timo Werner. I made these videos because when we look at financial markets in football, we can see clubs that are doing very well and clubs that are struggling. We look at Inter Milan as an example. They might be flying high in Serie A right now, but in terms of developing for their future, they're in a bit of financial difficulty. They're Chinese owners. They've had to, I think, they've done something with the team in China. They've said they're going to support Inter Milan. That's a big club who probably won't be able to invest a lot of money in reinforcements and new players. Whereas you look at Chelsea, and Roman Abramovich has come out and said that he's willing to give Thomas Tuchel 300 million euros, which some clubs can only dream of spending that kind of level of money in their entire existence, let alone in one transfer window. As well as that, you look at the other big teams that might interest Erling Haaland, or in a normal footballing financial world would be able to afford him. Barcelona, they're in absolute turmoil right now. Whether they'll make any big signings or not probably depends on whether Messi leaves. Real Madrid, they're not exactly doing great either. So for that reason, that rules out 2 of the big names. Bayern Munich still have Robert Lewandowski, so I don't think he's going to end up going there. You've then got the Premier League giants. You've got Manchester City. We know they've got financial muscle. They're about to win the Premier League. It's a very attractive prospect. Manchester United, always going to be able to attract the best players. You've then got the potential fallout of Mohamed Salah at Liverpool with Jurgen Klopp, and then they might be needing to replace him if Salah in fact does go to Barcelona. I don't know how they're going to afford these deals, but they always somehow manage to find a way. Funny that. But Mo Salah will probably leave Liverpool maybe this summer if things keep going sour. So maybe Liverpool want to sign Erling Haaland. So it isn't as though I'm approaching this blindly thinking that Chelsea are the only team that could possibly sign him. It isn't true in the slightest. But I think in terms of the way that we negotiate deals, we've seen that we managed to get things over the line very quickly. We managed to somehow negotiate our way around and above a lot of other competitive clubs when it comes to actually signing these big name players. The reason that I think Erling Haaland could be Chelsea's answer to replacing Eden Hazard, who many see as an irreplaceable player. You know, you look at Chelsea's social media this week in the build-up to that Liverpool game. We're posting videos of Hazard's wonder goal in the League Cup against Liverpool. We're posting videos of him scoring and taking on the whole team against West Ham. Because whenever you look at the calendar, there's always something on this day that Eden Hazard did in a Chelsea shirt. And if you look at the rest of the team that we have right now, we've got some very high-performing players. But do we see, at this moment in time, somebody who has been able or who can take that role that Eden Hazard had of single-handedly winning football matches for Chelsea Football Club on a weekly basis? We look at Erling Haaland's goal-scoring record, and it speaks for itself. It's absolutely phenomenal. And even though Eden Hazard wasn't always the top goal scorer, in terms of how he contributed to goals, be it by scoring them, creating the chance that then created the assist, or getting the assist, Eden Hazard was that game-changing player. And when you look at Erling Haaland's record at 20 years of age, you see how sometimes just his goals alone carry Borussia Dortmund to victory. Yes, they've got some other wonderful players, but he's such a key, fundamental part of that side that I think if Chelsea were to just go all out and give Dortmund and Haaland whatever he wants financially, I honestly feel as though it could answer so many problems for Chelsea for such a long period of time. It's not just the goals, it's the attitude that he has, it's the personality that he not only brings to the dressing room, but he brings to Chelsea Football Club as a brand. So I guess what this video really is from me is, again, another propaganda push to, just give you my opinion as to why I think Erling Haaland is not only the dream signing because of his goal-scoring record and the fact that if we don't get him now, we probably never will get him, because you look at this kind of player, look at Eden Hazard, he's ended up at Real Madrid, and it's always something where Haaland will probably come to Chelsea, and because he is so good, I don't think it would be a question of will he adapt. I think he's like 1 meter 94 centimeters. He's an absolute unit of a geezer. Left-footed, I think he's just brilliant. And I think it would be one of those seamless signings where anybody in football who can afford him, it's an absolute no-brainer that they go for him. I think there's only one other player in world football right now who has that same kind of market pull, and that would be Kylian Mbappe from Paris Saint-Germain. And I don't think Chelsea are going to be going in for him, despite him having a trial at Chelsea all those years ago. So Haaland is that game-changing player who brings the goals, who brings the X factor. I hate to use that phrase, but it was the first thing that came to my mind. And I think that as long as Chelsea are interested in him, Roman Abramovich, Marina Granovskaya need to do absolutely everything in their power to go out and secure this man's signature. Imagine a front two of Timo Werner, who's 5 years older. It was his birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, big Timo. Timo Werner and Erling Haaland as Chelsea's strike partnership for many years to come. Partner that with the Thomas Tuchel revolution of absolutely fixing this wonderful now Chelsea defence. And if that isn't a recipe for winning multiple trophies across the European scene, then I do not know what is. Of course, I want it to be very clear in this video that it's not just a signing of Erling Haaland that could make Chelsea a European powerhouse. There are definitely still other areas of the pitch that I feel like we need to strengthen in order to be a serious contender within that conversation. However, I want to keep pushing this as much as I can. Erling Haaland to Chelsea, I think it is my dream signing. I'd love to hear in the comments down below if it is your dream signing, or if there's another striker that you think we should go for. Please let me know in the comments with a justification, because I would love to hear what you guys have to say. You also remember that Eden Hazard came from a footballing family where both of his brothers were also on the Chelsea books at one point, and Mr. Haaland actually has a cousin who goes by the name of Albert, who has scored like 64 goals in 30 games in the Molde youth team in Norway right now, if I can get my flipping words out correctly. So he comes from a footballing family. It's not just this like game-changing, big game player that can fix everything for Chelsea that Eden Hazard left when he left the club, it's also like, if you look at the whole story of how this goes, it's ever so slightly too similar, even though they play in different positions. But I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. After seeing him score twice again for Dortmund last night, I really wanted to make this video just to give my thoughts as to why I think this could be the marquee signing of all marquee signings that Chelsea could make, even including last year's signings that I'm still very excited about. But there's just something about this guy that I think is going to dominate world football for the next 10 years. So that's my thoughts on it. Let me know yours in the comments. Please be sure to subscribe to GBFC if you haven't already done so, and hit the like button if you do want Chelsea to sign Erling Haaland. And later on today, there will be a brand new video out. Again, 2 in a day. It's the Chelsea-Everton preview. It's a slightly earlier kickoff tomorrow, so I wanted to get the video out today so that you guys have more time to go and see it, and I've got more time to work on setting up the live stream for GBFC for Chelsea-Everton tomorrow. As I said at the beginning, go and submit your predictions over on the GBFC Selects app. We had over 1,000 people enter last week. 2 people shared the £1,000. Hopefully there's a winner, and it's just one of you this week who can walk away with £1,000. It's a pretty big sum of money, particularly in the climate we're in right now. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you all later in video number 2. Come on, you Blues.